forecast, things looking crazy. A storm on the horizon, the pressure is low. Gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state alert. But we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the phase. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the phase. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're open the gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. EMA, let's get this show on the road.
Let's get this show on the road, guys. What do you say? Let's do it right now. This is the Emergency Management Associates coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina, guys. We're here for you right now on the air. We're on the air quite late tonight. We didn't mean to do this, but we had a lot of work to do. We came on the air right now to give you that information. Now, I'm going to talk about earthquakes. Please hang in here with me, guys. We are going to be talking about earthquakes in just a minute, just a few minutes. The first thing I want to address is what's going on in our country and around the world. Okay, that's the first thing we want to talk about tonight. Okay, now, why? Why? Right in the middle of this shutdown, right smack dab in the middle of this shutdown, where the Democrats have decided they're not going to pay government employees. They were protesting ICE because ICE had been deployed out on the streets of our country to arrest lawbreakers, illegal aliens that came into this country, and the majority of these people that they have arrested are very bad lawbreakers, murderers, rapists, people that hurt people, people that have destroyed people's lives. That's the majority of what has happened here. But because the Democrats decided, oh, we don't need ICE, leave these illegals alone. Why? Why are they doing it? They want to get votes from the illegals to keep themselves in office. The Democrats want to keep these illegal aliens in this country, allow them to vote so they can keep themselves in office in perpetuity. Okay, that's why they've done it. I've got this report here from Jeff Hawks. Watch this report here. Think you're going to get a new image of what's exactly going on with this report here. Okay, watch this. The Democrats before in decades past have said they wanted the illegal aliens gone from this country. Watch this report.
Dating back over 3 decades, Democratic presidents and cabinet members have had strong stances on immigration, from Bill Clinton to Barack Obama and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
Our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before.
Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone.
The numbers backing up those positions, according to the Cato Institute and Migration Policy, following President George W. Bush's 2 million removals, Obama set a record with over 3 million. Years prior, Clinton had over 850,000, and Trump's first term more than 930,000. Biden, 1.5 million.
The first administration in history to completely abandon their federal responsibilities to secure the border and enforce the immigration laws of this country.
Pointing to the numbers, national security expert and former DHS senior advisor Charles Marino telling the National News Desk he believes this Democratic reversal in part started 5 years ago.
We have seen now an abandonment by the party at large where they do not want to see these laws enforced.
Marino says while some Democrats were unhappy with previous immigration policies, the rhetoric being shared has changed under the current administration.
You certainly weren't as vocal as you are now since the Trump administration is doing it, and you certainly weren't obstructing.
Thoughts echoed by acting ICE Director Todd Lyons, who says the aggressive rhetoric has been turned up way too loud.
Any elected official that uses the pulpit to kind of inflame one base is just wrong.
Now, many Democratic leaders have aggressively condemned Trump's intensified immigration enforcement, specifically his mass deportation operation and ICE activities in American cities like Minneapolis. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer saying earlier this month, ICE raids are terrorizing communities. Reporting for the National.
ICE raids are terrorizing communities. Unreal. There's documented evidence all over the internet, with Chuck Schumer raising his hand, yelling to the microphone in the Senate chambers that these illegal aliens need to go. All over it. I've seen it. Seen it during the last couple days. They have to go. Chuck Schumer said that, but now he's touting a different story. He wants to keep them here to allow them to vote and keep the Democrats in power in perpetuity. That's what they want to do. I'm saying no. Today, Speaker Johnson came out and said this. I want you to see this. This is important. Okay? I'm sorry, that's not the one I want right now, but this is. Today, Speaker Johnson came out and talked about this. Watch this program here. Right here. No. Right there. You're going to want to see this.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to say this again as clearly as possible. This shutdown is a choice made by Democrats. It's a conscious decision by Democrats to put violent, illegal criminals ahead of American people. That's their choice. Let's talk about what was happening before this shutdown. Law enforcement officers were doing their sworn duty, arresting and deporting dangerous individuals who should have never been in the country to begin with. We're talking about child molesters, rapists, and murderers. People who threaten the lives every day of Americans. People who threaten our families. People who threaten the safety of our children. These are the convictions of the violent, illegal criminals who were arrested in just my home state. Now, in Chicago, my heart breaks for the Sheridan Gorman family.
Hey, it's Ashley with 4 Paygrades.
Sorry, I can't let this commercial go. Hold on a second. I'm going to continue this report. It's very important. That's why I'm here.
And had her whole life ahead of her. Sadly, her parents will never see her graduate and walk across the stage. That's a shame. And it could have been and should have been prevented. Why? All because Democrats flooded our country with violent, illegal criminals like the Venezuelan who murdered Sheridan. He was released into our country by the Biden administration, arrested for shoplifting, then released again. Once wasn't enough, you gotta release him, let him go back, commit another crime, and then release him again. Maybe the third time's a charm. Then released again by the Biden administration. Just think of that. Think of that. Think if that was your child. Just think about that for a minute. As a mother, it absolutely infuriates me because Democrats are refusing to put my children, our children, American children, over these violent, illegal criminals. That's not hypothesis. That is fact. And if you don't believe it, why don't you talk to Sheridan's parents? I just get irritated, and I can't believe this is going on in America. Democrats are back to their old chant, defund the police. I mean, that is who they are. Make them own that. Here's the thing, though. It's time, not just a slogan. This is a shutdown of our homeland security. And the consequences are real. Just look at the numerous terrorist attacks that have happened on American soil in just the last few weeks. Attacks by violent terrorists on our homeland that have taken the lives of innocent Americans. Of course, while all of this is happening, Republicans have actually done the responsible thing. See, we stand with law enforcement. We stand with the victims. We don't stand with the criminals. We actually stand with the family of Sheridan. We don't stand with the violent criminals. The Democrats do, but we don't. And please remind them of that. Because Hakeem Jeffrey couldn't even denounce this. I mean, that is sick. That is sad, right? Listen, while all of this is going on, Republicans have to do the responsible thing, and we are going to continue to do the responsible thing. We have voted again and again to fund our homeland security to protect Americans. And we're going to do it again this week with a clean DHS funding bill.
Ability and make people keep missing flights. Watch that vote tomorrow. Now, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Good morning, everybody. It is a sad morning. We've talked a lot about how the upcoming midterm election is really, it's not a contract with America election that's coming up. It's a contrast for America. That's a good way to summarize it. And it's a contrast between common sense and crazy. The Democrats, this is not your grandfather's Democrat Party. They have crazy policies, and now they have deadly, very tragic consequences. And you've heard this common theme this morning. We're talking about the latest victim. Sheridan Gorman was a beautiful 18-year-old freshman, as has been noted, at Loyola University, enjoying time with her friends out on the pier, looking at the northern lights, and now her family is mourning her tragic and totally unnecessary loss. It was a life tragically cut short. The masked assailant approached Sheridan while she was walking with her friends, and she ran away and, as you know, shot her from the back. The monster who did this, Jose Medina, was an illegal alien with a criminal record. Why is that so relevant to us? Because it's Democrat policies that made this tragedy possible. He had no legal right to be in this country. And we know that Medina entered the United States illegally on May 9th, 2023. That's under the Biden administration with their wide open borders policy. We also know he was caught by Border Patrol and let into the country, released into the country, like millions of others. And thanks to the Democrats' open border policy, those are indisputable facts. But for that crazy set of policies, this young lady would still be alive. Weeks later.
Okay, I want to just pause this right here for a minute. I want you to know what's going on here. Governor Pritzker of Illinois was given the opportunity to put this man that shot her in the head, put her in prison and keep him there. And he released this man out of prison. And several days later, this woman ended up taking a bullet to the head. Pritzker was responsible for it. But what did Pritzker do? Absolutely nothing, except go to Minnesota and put flowers on the grave of Miss Groom over in Minneapolis. The woman that was killed by ICE for obstructing ICE and also for trying to run over one of our ICE agents. And yet, yes, it was declared a righteous shoot. It was declared a righteous shoot. She tried to hit and run over one of our own ICE agents. When that happens, yes, our law enforcement is allowed to use that force, which was reasonable and necessary to stop the aggression. That ICE officer did. Governor Pritzker of Illinois traveled to Minnesota and put flowers on her grave. Putting flowers on her grave. What kind of horse crap is that? What kind of horse crap is that? This same woman was obstructing ICE all day long and tried to run over one of our ICE officers. And yet the governor of Illinois was visiting her grave and putting flowers on her grave, allowing this same woman from Loyola University in Chicago, allowing her to get shot in the head, and he allowed that person to go out and do it. That immigrant should not have even been in this country. Incredible.
Medina was arrested in a major American city after 11 men, but banned only to be released onto the streets of Chicago. Why? Because of crazy Democrat policies. He would later take the life of Sheridan Gorman. The irony of all this is that the system did not fail Sheridan. That worked exactly as the Democrats intended. You had Democrats in charge of the White House and in charge in the city of Chicago. Open borders policies, sanctuary cities policies. They coddled the criminal illegal alien. They empowered, they allowed this to happen, and that's why we're so angry about it. He was in the custody of law enforcement twice. And there were two chances to stop Sheridan's killing. But Democrats' open borders guaranteed their release, and their soft on crime sanctuary policies ensured his impunity, and that's why this happened. And Sheridan Gorman.
SpaceX's Starlink went from 1 point.
Okay, I'm going to end this there with that commercial. Frankly, I'm tired of it. I'm frankly tired of it. That poor young girl should have been out wandering the streets, going to school, and doing whatever she needed to do. But because of Democrat policies, she's allowed back out, or he was allowed back out of the streets after having been arrested. And then he committed another murder. Uncut, pick and reel. And this is just being allowed to happen. Okay? Just being allowed to happen. Now, it's got to come to a screeching halt. Presently, our legislators in Washington are trying to put together a bill right now, as we speak, to open up the government completely. Will Democrats fight that and keep this shut down? Democrats wanted ICE off the streets. Guess what? ICE had been already funded. But what did the Democrats do? They shut down parts of Homeland Security, including FEMA and the Coast Guard and TSA. Those people have not been paid for nearly 2 months. Those people have not been paid for nearly 2 months. Then, what did President Trump do? What did he do, guys? He put ICE in our airports. Put ICE in our airports. What did that do? Let's show this video here. That happened on Monday. On Monday.
And the wait line looks like this. In the couple of hours that I've been here, I've seen ICE officers patrolling, and the line has looked the same since I got here. Completely empty. So if you see wait times go down while you're traveling, you may just want to thank an ICE officer. Earlier this morning, travelers may have experienced a little bit of a wait time, but since I've been here, the lines seem to be moving fairly smooth.
Okay? The lines are moving smoothly now because ICE was there. ICE was handing out water to the travelers as well. ICE was assisting passengers in the airports. Now, the media would have you to believe that all ICE was doing was hanging with themselves, walking around the airports, not doing anything. Yet I saw videos of ICE I wanted to put on here today. I couldn't find them now because I believe the media's taken them down, doesn't want those videos to be seen. ICE had coolers of ice, literally, coolers of water in ice, wanting and handing them out to passengers that have been waiting in lines. Since ICE took over side by side with TSA agents, they've eliminated the lines from 4-hour waits to maybe 40 minutes. That's 40-minute time period is very typical in any airport. In any airport. Yet the TSA agents are still trying to work those that can. Those that can. Thousands of TSA agents have been put on the beach. Put on the beach. They had to take other jobs. Some of them have even resigned from TSA because they no longer could work there because they were not being able to pay their bills. Had to take over other jobs. They had family responsibilities. All of us do that. I had the same problems back in the 90s when Clinton shut down the government twice. President Clinton shut down the government twice, guys. Had the same issue. Okay? We went without pay for 2 weeks. Then the second time is 1 month. 1 month. Fortunately, my landlord allowed me to say, or he knew that I would be paying the rent those 2 months the next time I got paid, which happened. Okay? Fortunately. Also, my other bills allowed me to put them on the back burner for now, for the time being that I wasn't getting paid, so I could go to work and still maintain my job. Okay? So I could go home and still maintain a place to live. What happened? These guys at TSA can't even afford gas. They're taking the bus to work, those people who are still working. Taking the bus to work. Some people have allowed those TSA agents to ride with them to work at the airport. Other people at the airport picked them up and took them to work, allowing them not to use money or anything else that they might need except for their families. Okay? Some people allowed those TSA agents the idea that they have a way to work, and as soon as they start getting paid, then they'll be able to pay those people back. Unreal. Also, Benny Johnson has a Benny Johnson show here on YouTube. He also bought lunches for TSA agents in the airports yesterday afternoon. He bought them Chick-fil-A lunches for the TSA agents in one of the airports in Florida. That was a good deal. It was a great deal. That's what we need to do for all the TSA agents around this country. We need to honor them and support them and try to help get their jobs back by telling our government, telling our legislators, go call your Democrat legislators, tell them to get off their butt and pass the SAVE Act, pass the Save America Act. Also, to put our government on flat ground and allow our agents and our FEMA people and our Coast Guard to get paid. This is unheard of. It's unheard of for Americans to go without paychecks when these stupid legislators are on leave themselves because they don't want to do anything that is right. So they're playing in their gardens, playing with their children. They're coming to vote once a week to keep these other people at bay, to keep our other government employees out of work. They go back to work one day a week and say, no, we're not going to pay them. Yeah, that's what's happening, guys. It's abhorrent. This is abhorrent. Now, guess what? Speaker Johnson in the House and Senator Mike, I can't remember his name, from Utah, have put together a legislation to provide the bills to make sure that if anybody, any legislators ever take down the government in any case, those legislators are not going to get paid. Okay? The senator from Utah and Senator Kennedy from Louisiana have proposed a bill that any of the legislators that are responsible for shutting down the government won't get paid until the government employees are paid. Okay? And yes, they have a lot of other legislators that are going with them to support that bill. I'm hoping that it will get passed. Okay? Now, at one point, just a few minutes ago, we had 27 people watching this program, and all of a sudden it's died down to 16 people watching this program. That's terrible. This is an emergency, guys. Our own fellow Americans are without work because of these stupid Democrat legislators. These same legislators that over the last 2 decades have yelled and screamed that these illegals must be deported, and now they want them here. And they're willing to make sure that our own government employees are not going to be paid. Unreal. Unfrickin' real, guys. Should not be happening. Should not be happening at all. Okay? Now, I want to talk about earthquakes next. Okay? Let's go over the USGS map here. Going to bring it up right here. Okay? I'm going to take down our EMA banner. I'm going to take down our webcam for just a few minutes. Okay? I want to show you some earthquakes that are now happening in Japan. Over in Japan. Okay? There was a big earthquake here. Big earthquake here, right here. This was a 6.5 very strong earthquake. 6.5 very strong earthquake. 76 miles east of Yamata, Japan. 76 miles east of Yamata, Japan. USGS is only showing 5 earthquakes here. The United States Geological Survey is only showing 5 earthquakes here. That's preposterous. It's preposterous, guys. These 5 earthquakes are not the only earthquakes that are here. And yet USGS would have us believe that. USGS would have us believe that. This earthquake further to the east here is a 4.9 5.0 earthquake. 4.9 5.0 earthquake here. This earthquake right next to it is also 4.6 moderate earthquake here. Up here to the northwest, this is also a 4.9 5.0 large earthquake. This is a 4.6 moderate earthquake, just like the other one down there to the southeast. Over here to the south here, this is a 4.6 earthquake here again, moderate earthquake. But right next to it, this is also another 4.6 earthquake. But again, these are not the only earthquakes that have hit here. They're not the only earthquakes that hit here. They're the only earthquakes that USGS wants to tell us about. There's one other earthquake here, up here to the north. Okay? This is off the coast of Honshu, Japan. This also is a 4.9, 5.0 large earthquake here. But again, these are not the only earthquakes here. Okay? Let's bring up our webcam again. I'll show you the earthquakes that have also hit here. Okay? Over on the shoreline. This is a small 3.0 earthquake here. Small earthquake. However, look at the other earthquakes that have hit here. Look at the other earthquakes that have hit here. Lots and lots of earthquakes. 9 earthquakes here, guys. 9 earthquakes. This earthquake here is a 6.5 that I showed you on the USGS map. This other one here, is a 5.9, 6.0 earthquake. Other earthquakes have also hit here. Northwest of there is a 5.0 earthquake there. Northeast of there is a 4.6. 2 earthquakes east of there. Another 4.6 earthquake there. Right next to it, a 4.8. South of those 2 earthquakes is another 4.5 earthquake here. Then, out here to the east, a 4.3 moderate earthquake there. Then again, we come back to this 6.5 earthquake here, and the other 4.6 to the south here. 9 earthquakes hit here. 9 earthquakes hit here, guys. USGS shows us 5. USBS shows us 5. That tells you the real story here, guys. This is telling you the real story. USGS is again lying to the public. Absolutely out and out lying to the public again. Now, I hate saying this. I used to praise USGS when I was in college and even after that, because I thought they were doing a good job, and back then they were. They were honest in their dealings. Since then, they have not been honest hardly at all. Down here in the Abaco Islands of Russia. Abaco Islands of Russia right here. South of Kamchatka Peninsula. This is a 4.7 earthquake here in the Kuril Islands here. The Kuril Islands here. Okay? Now, I want to go further south here. Further south here. Okay? In the Ryukyu Islands south of Japan right here. This is a 4.7 earthquake here. Okay? 4.7 moderate earthquake here. Guess what? There are a lot more. A lot more. Now, one of you put up an earthquake here on the chat. This is it right here. Okay? Guys, this is a large 5.7 earthquake here in Papua, Indonesia. Papua, Indonesia. Large 5.7 earthquake here. Why are we talking about it? I'll show you why in just a second. Look where this earthquake hit. Look where this earthquake hit, guys. Basically hit here on the flatlands just north of the mountain range here in Papua, Indonesia and Papua New Guinea. This is a big earthquake. This is a very dangerous earthquake. Large 5.7 earthquake here. Again, I want to emphasize this. The people that live here in Papua Indonesia and Papua New Guinea, unless they live in a very large town, which there aren't too many of those, some of these people, the majority of them, only make maybe $300 a year. $300 a year. When an earthquake of this magnitude hits them, it destroys their lives. It kills and destroys their lives, destroys their homes, destroys everything they have. They work very hard. They live in wooden and mud huts, cardboard huts out here. They have tarps over their lifestyle, tarps over their little huts, protecting them from wind and rain. So when an earthquake like this hits, it almost destroys everything around them. Almost destroys everything around them. They live from fishing, and they live from anything that they can grow. That's how they subsist. When an earthquake like this comes in, it destroys their lives. That's what's happened here. Large 5.7 earthquake hits here in Papua New Guinea. This earthquake is felt all over here in Papua New Guinea as well. Papua Indonesia, Papua New Guinea. Okay? There are people who live in these communities, guys. There are people who live in these communities. Okay, look at this. I'm zooming in so you can see what I'm talking about. These people just subsist, that's all. They subsist, they get by. Yet people that watch this program have now dropped off to 15 people watching it. This is terrible. This is terrible, guys. Lives are in danger here. Lives are being destroyed by earthquakes. By earthquakes. Okay, now I'm going to back this out. I want to show you what's going on here in Indonesia today. USGS is showing 5 earthquakes, including, actually 4 earthquakes, including 5.7 in Papua Indonesia. Right here, central Indonesia here. Why am I talking about this? This is a 5.0 earthquake, guys. This is a 5.0 earthquake. Okay? This also is 6.2 miles deep. Shell earthquake. Shell earthquake. Let's go down into the southeast. This is a 4.3 earthquake. 67 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake here. This earthquake right here is a 4.8 earthquake. A very moderate earthquake here. Upper side of the 4.0 to 4.9 scale here. 4.8 earthquake here. Guess what? This earthquake is 549 kilometers deep. 549 kilometers deep. What does that mean? What do you think it means, guys? Let me show you. I want to make sure everybody understands this. Deep earthquakes can propagate or birth other larger shallow earthquakes. It happens. It happens all the time. Now I'm going to take down the USGS map here. I want you to look at the 549 scale here. Okay? In this case, since it's closer to 550 here, let's look at 550. We're going to add a 1.1 to that earthquake. We're going to add a 1.1 magnitude to that earthquake. What's it going to detail, guys? What do you think it's going to detail? This moderate earthquake here is going to birth a 5.9 to 6.0 earthquake in the next 3 to 10 days. This 4.8 earthquake right here is going to birth a larger and shallower earthquake in this area. Today over in Papua, Indonesia, we've already seen a 5.7. Now we're going to see a 6.0 earthquake in this area, in this region here. In this region. That 6.0 earthquake could go over here to Australia here. Could stay here in Indonesia here. Could go further to the north here in Southeast Asia, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar to the north. By the way, Myanmar and India have earthquakes here today. 6 earthquakes here today. USGS is not showing those. All 6 of those earthquakes came to that Burma area, Myanmar-Burma area. Same difference. All those earthquakes originated down here in Indonesia. They followed the earthquake fault here. They followed the edge of the plate over here to Burma. These earthquakes originated down here in Indonesia. Yet USGS is not showing anything going on here, allowing people to believe nothing's happening here in Indonesia. There are earthquakes all over here. There are 59 earthquakes here in Indonesia today. 59. Did you know that? 59 earthquakes here in Indonesia. USGS is showing us 3. And one of the other 5.7 in Papua, Indonesia. That's insane, guys. That's insane. There are also 5 earthquakes here on the South Island of the Philippines, around Mindanao, Philippines. 5 earthquakes here. Yes, they're small, 3.0, 3.9, and 4.0, 4.6 earthquakes here around Mindanao, Philippines here. But there are earthquakes here. But again, USGS decides we don't want to show them because we don't want anybody to think that anything's happening here. They are happening. They are happening. For every event that happens, every earthquake that happens, there's also a completely separate and equal reaction. Separate and equal reaction from every earthquake that hits here. Other earthquakes are also going to hit here. That's what happens here. It's a scientific principle. Scientific principle here. Now, guess what? I'm going to open up my device. I want to show you something here in southwestern Australia. Okay. Let me show you this. This might also blow your mind. Down here in southwestern Australia, we have a 2.53 earthquake here. 2.53 earthquake here. USGS not showing you anything here. Guess what? There are also more earthquakes here to the southeast here. To the southeast here. Right here. Okay? This is a 2.4 near Urela, southeastern Argentina. 2.4 minor earthquake here. Again, USGS doesn't say anything. This is Calawee, southeastern Australia. 2.08 minor earthquake here. 2 minor earthquakes. Excuse me. And yes, nobody feels minor earthquakes. Nobody can feel minor earthquakes, but these earthquakes happen. They happen all the time. And yet USGS says nothing about it. Not a thing. Yesterday, we showed you South America. They showed no events at all happening in South America. Yet, there are 59 earthquakes yesterday in South America. 59. 59 in South America. Look what they're showing today. 3 earthquakes. Central Chile, off the coast. 4.2 moderate earthquake here. This is a 4.4 here. And a little bit further north here, a 4.0 moderate earthquake here. This is 13 kilometers deep. This 4.4 here is 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep. This 4.2 earthquake here is 11.8, 12 kilometers deep here. Insane, guys. Insane. We also had another earthquake happen over here on the South Antarctic Ridge here. The Southern Antarctic Ridge here. Okay? In the Bellany Islands region. The Bellany Islands region here. This is a moderate, or not a moderate, but a large 5.3 earthquake here. 5.3 earthquake, 6.2 miles deep on the Antarctic Ridge. Where's this earthquake going to go? This is the edge of the plate here. Antarctic Ridge here, the edge of the plate. Where is this large energy going to go? It might go further to the northeast here into the Indian Ocean. Could go up here, even up here in the central Indian Ocean here. Also up here in the Carlsberg Ridge here, and up here either into Saudi Arabia or into Iran. Can happen. Can happen. Or this large energy down here on the Antarctic Ridge could follow its way through the Southern Pacific here. Southern Pacific here could end up here in the southwestern side of the ocean here, near Easter Island. Near Easter Island. It could happen. Okay? It's happened before. It could also end up here, over here in Chile and Argentina. Or it could travel over here to the South Sandwich Islands here, to the Southern Sandwich Islands here. That's happened before as well. Energy does not dissipate that large. That kind of energy, 5.3 energy, doesn't dissipate that far. As that energy moves through here, it can regenerate energy as well. It can pick up other energy that's already here and transfer up to other points, and those points could destroy lives. That's why we're talking about it. That's exactly why we're talking about it. As I said yesterday, there were 59 earthquakes here in South America. Today, there are 47 earthquakes here today. 47. USGS has shown us 3. 3 earthquakes here. That's very bad. That's very sad. They're not being honest with anybody. Earthquakes can destroy lives. That's why we report on earthquakes. They destroy lives here. Okay. Large earthquakes, very strong 6.0, 6.9, 7.0 major earthquakes and larger can destroy lives. We need to follow these earthquakes. Why? Why do we need to know about these earthquakes? So you can see where they're going, where they might go. Have some idea what we can do to prepare our families and maybe save our families' lives. That's why we talk about this. That's the basic reason we talk about this, guys. Down here in Central America here, Nicaragua, a large 5.5 earthquake hit here. Mid-range 5 hit here, guys. Mid-range 5 earthquake hit here, guys. Guess what? This is 96 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. Guys, when an earthquake like this hits land, when it hits land, anybody even anywhere near it, their lives can be destroyed. Their lives can be destroyed. Further to the southwest right here, there's a city here. There's a city here. Spread out all over here. Okay? There are other cities as well here. Let's go up here to the north here. Okay? Ciudad Bandera. These people felt that earthquake. 5.5 energy, these people definitely felt that earthquake. Unreal. That's why we talk about this. I show you this because I want you to be aware of what's going on. Okay? These earthquakes can destroy lives. These are very powerful, large earthquakes. 5.0, 5.4 is considered a low side large earthquake. But anything over 5.5 is considered a very large earthquake. Large earthquakes can do damage, unalive people, and injure others. That's what happened here today. That's what happened here today. Okay? This earthquake probably destroyed some lives here and injured other people. Okay? This earthquake hit in the middle of the day here. In the middle of the day here. Very sad situation here. When earthquakes are out to sea, I don't so much worry so much about lives out there because earthquakes out to sea, most of those earthquakes are disseminated out in the water. The seismic energy is reduced, absorbed by the water itself. So people on land masses don't feel those earthquakes or don't feel as strong as an earthquake. But this earthquake is a large, very large 5.5 destructive earthquake here. On land here. Near Ciudad, the city of Sandino, Nicaragua. But guys, again, this is not the only earthquake hit here in Nicaragua. Not the only earthquake. Other earthquakes are also here. Okay? I want to show you this. Just so you know what's going on here. USGS would have us believe nothing happens here. Look at this. Other earthquakes also hit here, guys. A lot of other earthquakes also hit here. Down here in northern Panama. This is a minor 2.7 earthquake. Out here to the sea, off of Panama. This is a 2.7 minor earthquake here. Going north, Costa Rica, 4.0 earthquake right there. Going north off land here in the ocean, off Costa Rica in the ocean. This is a 3.86 small earthquake here. Going north, two earthquakes together. At 2.3, dadgum. A 3.23, dad frickin' gummit. A 3.23 and a 3.54. Small earthquakes there. They didn't hurt anybody because they were out in the ocean. Nobody even felt these earthquakes. They're small earthquakes. The ocean water absorbed the shock waves of the quake. Then go further north, still offshore Costa Rica. 2.7 minor earthquake there. Then we go over here to the landmass in Costa Rica. 3.40 earthquake, small earthquake. People there in Costa Rica felt that earthquake, small earthquake. They felt those earthquakes moving beneath their feet. They felt the ground move. Costa Rica. Then again offshore. This is a 3.1 earthquake here. Then we go north. South of that 5.5. South of that 5.5 right there. Here's a 2.5 minor earthquake there. 2.5. Then we have two other earthquakes here, a 1.1 tremor and a 2.0 earthquake right there. Then north there, we have the 5.5 earthquake right there. Nicaragua. We know darn well those people don't have that much money. Yes, there's money in the larger cities. Yes, they do. But these people here in Nicaragua don't make as much money as the people here in the United States, even the people in England, the people in Australia, Japan. They don't. North of this earthquake here. Here's a 2.49. 2.49 earthquake. Then off the coast of Nicaragua, 3.2 small earthquake. Nobody felt that. The ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of that quake. Also 1.7 tremor. Nobody felt that either. We go north into a port, Honduras. 3.3 earthquake here. More earthquakes than that. Look at this. If you think earthquakes can't hurt people, they can. El Salvador, minor 2.48 earthquake. 2.48 minor earthquake. Just to the north there in the water. 4.95 earthquake here. Is USGS showing this earthquake here? Are they showing it right here? Yeah. 5.0 earthquake right there. Why are they not talking about those other earthquakes there? Why not? 5.0 earthquake right there. This is a 2.48 here in El Salvador. To the north of that 5.0 is a 4.2 earthquake. A moderate 4.2 earthquake. They felt this earthquake. On shore there. Moderate earthquake. To the north, offshore, 3 more earthquakes. 3 more earthquakes. 2.89. 4.0 earthquake there. Why are they not showing these earthquakes? 4.0 moderate earthquake. Why are they not showing those? They're not showing any earthquakes here at all. They're not hardly showing anything going on here. We go north here. Southern Mexico. Southern Mexico here, guys. Large earthquake. 5.1 earthquake here. 3 miles west-southwest of El Carmen, Mexico. El Carmen, Mexico. Interesting. This is on land. This earthquake is on land. West-southwest of El Carmen. They don't even have El Carmen on this map here. Actually, they do. I had it enlarged here. Right here. Very small town here. Very small town here. El Carmen, Mexico. These people in El Carmen felt that earthquake. They felt this earthquake. Up here in El Hierro, El Progreso, these people felt that earthquake as well. People all over this area felt this earthquake. Yuricoapa, Las Conchas, Geraldo Trellas, yeah. They felt this earthquake as well. USGS doesn't want to show any other earthquakes. There are earthquakes here, guys. There are earthquakes. South of that 5 earthquake here. South of this 5.1 earthquake. There's a 3.4 earthquake here, small 3.4. North of that, there's 2 other earthquakes here. A 3.6 and a 3.5 earthquake right there. Off the coast here. Off the coast here. 3.7. Just a little bit further north, a 3.5. Is USGS showing these earthquakes? Heck no. Not at all. Not at all. All kinds of earthquakes throughout this area. All kinds of earthquakes throughout southern Mexico. They show 1 earthquake. They show 1 5.1 earthquake here in southern Mexico. Between Puerto Vallarta here to the north, and all the way down south of this 5.1, there are 59 earthquakes here. 59 earthquakes here, guys. Why are they not showing those earthquakes? Why are they not showing all those earthquakes? They're showing 1 earthquake in southern Mexico and the heck with everybody else. Just south of Puerto Vallarta. Right here, just south of Puerto Vallarta. Let me show you something, guys. 7 earthquakes here. 7 earthquakes here. Off the coast here. There's a 3.4. Then we go on the coast. Manzanillo. Manzanillo here, guys. Manzanillo just happens to be a resort city here. Manzanillo right here. 3.4 small earthquake there. They felt that earthquake. They felt that 3.4. Just north of there, another 3.3, another 3.4 right there. To the northwest, northeast, another 3.4 earthquake there. Yes, they felt these earthquakes, guys. They felt those earthquakes. And 2 more earthquakes to the northeast, a 3.0 and a 3.7 small earthquake there. They felt these earthquakes, guys. They felt those earthquakes. What's going to happen here? What's going to happen, guys? These 59 earthquakes are going to go north. They're going to go north through Mexico and up the San Andreas Fault into California. They're going to go up the San Andreas Fault into California as well. Now, Cabo San Lucas. Cabo San Lucas, the tip of Baja California here. We have another earthquake here today. Cabo San Lucas. This is just a tremor today, 1.5 tremor. Up until today, we've had 1.5 tremors. We've had 2.4, 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes, 3.0, 3.5, and even 4.5 earthquakes here in Cabo San Lucas. And that's just in the past month, the past 30 days. Cabo San Lucas. Yet USGS doesn't show earthquakes. Yesterday here in the Gulf of California, we had 2 4.0, 4.5 earthquakes here in this area here on the San Andreas Fault. On the San Andreas Fault, guys. Now, I'm not here to tell you any lies. I'm not going to tell you lies at all. This energy is going up here in Southern California. Already today, right here. Brand new earthquake here. Tecate, on the border of San Diego and Mexico. Tecate, 2.5 earthquake here. 2.5 earthquake here. Not the only earthquake here, guys. Over here. My friend Laura, that used to live in Poway, California, where I used to live, knows where I'm talking about here. This earthquake is a 2.0 earthquake here in La Jolla. In La Jolla. This just west of Interstate 5 here in La Jolla. Just west of Interstate 5 here in La Jolla. Okay? I've been here. I've been here. This is what they call Torrey Pines, just north of La Jolla. Torrey Pines, guys. They've got a golf course here. They've got a golf course here, guys. A small earthquake right here. 2.0 minor earthquake here in La Jolla, Torrey Pines area. 2 more earthquakes here in San Diego County. Right here. Right here. This near Julian, California. This is a 0.5 microquake. Nobody even felt this earthquake. Nobody felt that earthquake. 2 more earthquakes. This one was a 1.1 tremor. This other earthquake that was red, light turned blue here, just happened. This is a 1.2 tremor here. Okay? This near Volcano Mountain here. Volcano Mountain here. Okay? You don't think there aren't volcanoes in California? There are, even in San Diego County, right here. Volcano Mountain. These are tremors and minor earthquakes here northeast of Julian. They're in this area for a reason. For a reason. This area has earthquakes all the time. All the time here, guys. These earthquakes northeast of Julian may actually be aftershocks from a 5.1 earthquake that happened last year, this time last year. 5.1 earthquake hit in Julian this time last year. North of Julian here. Another earthquake just happened. This time, this is 2 miles, supposedly 2 miles southeast of Lake Henshaw, California. Southeast of Lake Henshaw. Let's zoom in here. I want to show you where this earthquake is. Right there. This earthquake is literally at Lake Henshaw. At Lake Henshaw, guys. USGS says this is 2 miles southeast. It's at Lake Henshaw. This is just northeast of Escondido, California. This is only a 0.6 microquake. Nobody even felt this earthquake. They got lucky. They got lucky. Okay? USGS doesn't usually show even these earthquakes here. So I'm not even sure why they're showing them here. Now, why do I show them to you? Because we are talking about earthquakes in Southern California. Going north here, California, Los Angeles area. Another earthquake here in Yorba Linda where President Nixon used to live. He was born here in Yorba Linda. We had an earthquake here yesterday. We had another here, 1.4 tremor here. Just southeast of there. Another 1.6 here in Home Gardens, California. Home Gardens, California, just south of Corona. Earthquakes happen here all the time. Literally all the time here. Okay? Now I want to take you further north. Further north. About 1,000 miles to the north here. Right up here. Washington and Oregon here. Washington and Oregon here. USGS is only showing us a handful of earthquakes here in southern Washington. I'm about to show you a lot of earthquakes here in southern Washington. The USGS doesn't even have time to cover. Okay? Right here. This is near Yacolt, Washington. 1.3 tremor here. Right here to the north. USGS is showing this as near or in relationship to Amboy, Washington. 15 miles north of Amboy, Washington. Guess where it's at? Guess where this earthquake is at? In the foothills of Mount St. Helens. This is a 0.4 microquake. I'm here to tell you right now. Mount St. Helens has had more than a 0.4 microquake. Over here to the northeast, Mount St. Helens. They have this as a 0.6 microquake again. In the foothills of Mount St. Helens. Again, I'm going to show you a sitegraph in just a minute. They're showing a lot more earthquakes than this near Mount St. Helens. Over here northwest of Mount St. Helens here, they have a 1.4 tremor here. Allegedly 11 miles south of Mossy Rock, Washington. Interesting, but no cigar. Further out here to the west, a supposed explosion. A supposed explosion near Castle Rock, Washington. 6 miles northeast of Castle Rock, Washington. a supposed explosion here. Let's continue to zoom in here. I want to show you this. Guess what? I actually believe this might be a quarry blast, not an explosion, but a quarry blast. It's at a quarry here. This is actually at a quarry. Not an explosion, but a quarry blast. Maybe they consider quarry blast explosions here. 1.5 quarry blast up here, north of Mossy Rock, Washington, at a quarry. At a quarry. Go figure. Go figure. That's what they have to show here in southern Washington. One more earthquake up here to the northeast. Up here in the northeast here. They say this is 0.9, 1.0 tremor here near Nile, Washington. Near Nile, Washington. This is also southeast of Mount Rainier, where they're not showing any earthquakes at all. They should be showing you earthquakes here at Washington, Mount Rainier, because they are having earthquakes here. They are having earthquakes here. Guerin, cut, and pick and tee it. They're not showing anything going on here. They're hardly showing anything else going on except up here in the Puget Sound area of British Columbia. Right here. Orcas, Washington here. Orcas, Washington. It wasn't in British Columbia, Canada. It's in Orcas, Washington. I have a seismograph here, guys. I have a seismograph that happened here at Orcas, Washington today. I'm going to show you earthquakes here on the seismograph. It wasn't just one 0.8 microquake either. Unreal. Yeah, Damon Catman says USGS is twice right in 1 year showing quarry explosions. Yeah, twice this year. Spontaneous combustion in a forest. It's what it usually is. But this time they've only been right twice. Twice. But here at Orcas, Washington, an earthquake here. Puget Sound area. Go figure. I'm going to show you earthquakes at Friday Harbor here. I'm going to show you earthquakes at Fildago Island here. Orcas, Washington as well. Craziness, guys. And yet USGS says there's nothing else going on here. Let's go show you earthquakes now. Let's go show you realistic earthquakes now. Because again, USGS can't be trusted. They can't be trusted to show us what's actually going on. Right here. Okay? Right here. Fildago Island here. This is Fildago Island here. Puget Sound. Look what's going on here, guys. Look what's actually happening here. Yes, we've had some tremors here. Yes, we probably had some microquakes as well. This top of this seismogram shows earthquakes happened here yesterday evening. Yesterday evening, 8 p.m. last night. 8 p.m. last night. 2.4, 2.5, 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes here. Last night. Last night here. Fildago Island here. Okay? After that, what happened? All kinds of tremors here. Yes, we had some microquakes. They only show one microquake at Orcas Island. You see hundreds of minor tremors here. Hundreds of them, guys. They're prevalent. They're prevalent all day long here today. But USGS would have us believe nothing's going on here. Nothing ever happens here. Isn't that interesting? Nothing happens here. I'm here to tell you they don't know what they're talking about. They have no clue what they're talking about. Just for kicks and giggles, let's go up to Mount Baker to the north, right just south of Canada, just south of the Canadian border, right here. What's going on here? Mount Baker. The thicker the lines here, the more magma coming into the magma channel here, inside the volcano. Thicker lines, the more magma coming in, the thinner lines, less magma here. What's happening here? You see thicker lines here. Magma coming into Mount Baker here. Also, you see these vertical tremors here, vertical lines here. Those are tremors here. Tremors happening here at Mount Baker. Because that magma coming into the magma chamber here at the volcano is fracturing rock inside the magma chamber, causing earth movement inside the volcano. That's what's happening here at Mount Baker here. Look at that. All kinds of activity here at Mount Baker. Now, usually we have a seismogram that's called that shows us magma coming into the magma chamber, but USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network obliterated that seismogram. It's in pieces, literally, not showing you much of anything. The seismogram is in pieces. Unreal. That's so they don't have to show you what's going on. There's another seismograph at Baker Kendall, which is a separate mountaintop here near Mount Baker. Let's take a look at Mount Kendall. Look at this. You see tremors here as well. You see thinner lines here. These thinner lines show no magma here. But we're seeing tremors here. Tremors caused by earthquakes at Baker Kendall here. Look at that. Why is USGS not showing these earthquakes here? They showed some other microquakes. Why are they not showing these earthquakes here? These are tremors. These are larger than microquakes here, guys. Why are they not showing them? This happens to be a volcano. They're not showing anything in Mount Baker at all. Sad. Sad here, guys. Let's go down to Grays Harbor, Puget Sound, northern Puget Sound here. Look at this. Look at the activity here. Guys, this is almost harmonic tremors. This is almost harmonic tremors here. All day long. All day long here. And then this afternoon, it actually picked up the earthquake in Japan here. That's why you see these wavy lines here on the seismogram. It picked up that earthquake in Japan. That very strong earthquake in Japan. Unreal, guys. Unreal. Grays Harbor, Washington. Now, let me show you something else here. I want to show you Ocean Harbor, Ocean Shores, Washington, along the northern coast here. You're going to want to see this, guys. Ocean Shores, Washington here. Look at this seismogram here. On this particular seismogram, you're also seeing magma flowing beneath the surface of the Earth. Thicker lines here, magma coming through the surface of the Earth, headed towards the volcanoes, probably either Glacier Peak or Mount Rainier. That's what we're seeing here. We're also seeing tremors and minor earthquakes here. Tremors and minor earthquakes here, guys, all day long. Then we're seeing these short lines here, these short, thin lines here. Magma coming into the magma chamber. Again, the thinner lines, less magma, the thicker lines, more magma. It's called magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals. That's what we're seeing here. Look here later on this morning and this afternoon. Over on the left-hand side, at the left-hand side here, let me enlarge this so you can see what I'm talking about. Just after 12:20 a.m. this morning, 2.5 earthquake. 2.5 earthquake here at Ocean Shores on land. On land here, guys. Ocean Shores, Washington. Then again, this time this afternoon, 2.6, 2.7 earthquake here. This earthquake happened just after 4:08 or 2:08 p.m. this afternoon. 2:08 p.m. this afternoon. 2.6, maybe 2.7 earthquake here. All kinds of tremors, all kinds of minor earthquakes as well. All throughout this seismogram. Yet USGS would have us believe nothing's going on here in Washington and or Oregon. I'm going to show you even more here. I'm going to show you a lot more here. Okay? Now, yes, I'm going to show you activity at the volcanoes as well. Okay? I want to go down to Toketee, Oregon. Toketee, Oregon. Right here. With this. Yes, there is a volcano nearby here. There is a volcano nearby here. Yes, we see magma here. And as a result of that magma, we have some earthquakes here. For the most part, we have one 2.0 earthquake, minor earthquake. These others are probably 1.8 tremors here, and smaller tremors than that. Okay? Toketee, Washington. Actually, Oregon. I'm sorry, Oregon. Toketee, Oregon. Look at that. Yet USGS is showing nothing in Oregon at all. Not at all. Let me show you Seaside, Oregon near the coast. On the coastline. Sorry about that. On the coastline. All kinds of tremors, guys. All kinds of tremors. Then we have an earthquake here, guys. Today. An earthquake. Well, golly! Just after about 12:04 this afternoon. 12:04 this afternoon. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake hit. Then we have a bunch of tremors. Then we have another 2.0 earthquake after that. This afternoon, along the seashore at Seaside, Oregon. Seaside, Oregon, guys. But yet nothing's going on here in Oregon. Craziness. Yes, we have activity here in the Pacific Northwest. They don't want us to see. Northeast of Mount Rainier. Northeast of Mount Rainier is Davenport, Washington. Here. Guess what, guys? This is a former volcano. A former volcano sat here near Davenport, Washington. How do we know that? Because there's lava here. Not lava from Mount Rainier, not lava from Mount Baker, not lava from Glacier Peak, but lava that existed here from the volcano that's since been eroded down. Used to be a mountain here. Over thousands of years, that volcano was weathered down by water and ice. Now here today at Davenport, Washington, you're seeing tremors here. All kinds of tremors here. Again, this used to be a volcano here. The volcano is recharging. This volcano is recharging here. We'll look at this earthquake this morning here. Just after midnight. About 12:04, 12:05 this morning. 2.4, 2.5 earthquake here. And all kinds of tremors as well. And microquakes. Microquakes as well. USGS is not showing this on the map. Why not? Why not? These earthquakes happen. Bethel, Washington. Let's look at this. Last night, about 12:20, excuse me, can't even talk here. 12:24 last night, or not 12, 2024 last night. That's 8:24 last night. 2.5 earthquake. 2.5 earthquake here. Look at all the other tremors and microquakes here. All kinds of them. USGS is not showing any of these here at all. Why not? They happen here, USGS. Why are you not showing them? They never do. Again, they would have us believe nothing's going on here. Nothing's going on here, guys. Everything is just copacetic. Nothing happens here. Now, I want to show you Mount Rainier. Over on the north side of Mount Rainier, near the summit, there's a place called Camp Muir. Camp Muir. Look at Camp Muir today. Yes, we have a bunch of microquakes and minor earthquakes here. And tremors. Now here you see also vertical lines without a dot in them. If you have vertical lines without a dot in the middle of them, those are steam signals. Steam signals. Mount Rainier is steaming. Mount Rainier is releasing steam. It's a volcano, however. Releasing carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. And also sulfur dioxide. That's what's going on here. You just see tremors here and microquakes. Then this afternoon, you also see the Japanese earthquake in Japan. Mount Rainier, guys. Mount Rainier, Camp Muir. Now, again, this is not the only seismogram here at Mount Rainier we're going to look at. Let's go over here. Okay. I'm going to show you two more here. On the west side of Mount Rainier is a place called St. Andrews Rock. St. Andrews Rock. There was a lot of activity here just about a month or so ago. Lots and lots. Since then, we've seen harmonic tremors here. That's what you saw last night here. After 8 p.m. last night, we had nothing but harmonic tremors here until we got to the morning. Until this morning. Then we had a ton of minor tremors here. Lots and lots of tremors here. Happened all night long. Now, why do we have such differentiation between the harmonic tremors and all kinds of other tremors here? Why? Because, guys, as I've explained this before, these seismologists turn down the seismograph. Turn down the seismograph. They don't allow all the activity to be shown. They want everybody to believe nothing ever happens. So in this case, they turn it down here. Turn it down here. But also, that kind of activity continued until this afternoon. Look at this. Went back to harmonic tremors again. That's because the seismologists came in this morning and turned the seismograph back up. St. Andrews Rock, guys. That's what happens here. Now let's go and show you Camp Sherman. Camp Sherman, Mount Rainier. Look at Mount Rainier today. Camp Sherman, guys. This is the same seismograph, same location. Same location on the south side of Mount Rainier. They showed a bunch of earthquakes there before. Now we're seeing nothing but harmonic tremors here at Camp Sherman. Nothing but harmonic tremors all night and all day long. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Harmonic tremors at Mount Rainier. It's insane. It's insane. Let's go south there to Mount St. Helens. Good old St. Helens. Now, guys, I only have one side I'm going to show you here at Mount St. Helens because the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network turned off the seismograph at various locations around Mount St. Helens, except for one. This September lobe. September lobe here, guys. September lobe. This September lobe, BDF CC01. This is showing the magma coming into the magma chamber of this volcano. Now, yes, they're showing wavy lines here. Not like they used to show. I believe they've downplayed these wavy lines here. These are called vertical wavy lines. VLF waves, very low frequency waves here. Okay? They used to be larger. Used to be larger, much more active. But lately, as of the past 3 months, they have downplayed what's been going on here at all the volcanoes, including Mount St. Helens. And like I said, this is the only seismogram I could find showing activity at Mount St. Helens. All the others didn't show hardly anything going on at all. That's because they don't want to show anything happening here at the volcanoes. Mount St. Helens is still moving. Mount St. Helens is still moving. So is Mount Rainier. So is Mount Rainier. Okay? Let's go south to Mount Hood now. Okay? Mount Hood. Mount Hood is also moving, guys. Garen Cotton Picking Teed is moving. Actually, before we go to Mount Hood, I want to go north of Mount St. Helens to a place called Barrett Spur. Barrett Spur. This may indeed be its own volcano here. This may be indeed its own volcano here. Okay? It's got its own lava field. Not necessarily from Mount St. Helens, but its own lava field here. Barrett Spur. Look at the activity here. Yes, we are seeing some harmonic tremors here, but we're actually seeing other volcanic activity here. Look at this. Here, this afternoon, we're also seeing activity from Japan. The 6.5 in Japan here. Okay? We're seeing seismic activity here. Barrett Spur. Seismic waves are hitting Barrett Spur as well. Okay? Go south to Mount Hood. At Mount Hood, I'm going to show you several seismographs here. The first one I'm going to show you is Timberline. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to show you Hood Meadows to the south of Mount Hood. Hood Meadows. Look at this. Here at Mount Hood Meadows, we're seeing a bunch of tremors here. All kinds of tremors here all day long. Activity here. Why? Because magma's finding its way here to Mount Hood, causing these tremors here. Let's go to Timberline now. Good old Timberline. Timberline is in the foothills of Mount Rainier, or Mount Hood, Mount Hood. On the southern plain of Mount Hood. Okay? Here, we're still seeing tremors here. Look at that. Fancy that. You're also seeing some microquakes here as well. Then look at this. This afternoon, we actually had an earthquake. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake here. This earthquake occurred at 4:10 p.m. this afternoon. Unreal. Good sized earthquake. Minor earthquake, but still good sized earthquake. Earthquakes do happen in these volcanoes. Now, I believe that we have large earthquakes, and I believe we're also seeing some 3.0s here, but they're not showing them. They've actually erased activity. They've either deleted or erased activity from the seismographs. Okay? This Timberline. Let's move on up the south side of the volcano to Palmer Lift. Palmer Lift is up on the south side of the volcano, about halfway up the side of the volcano here. Palmer Lift here. Look what we're seeing here. We're seeing magma here. Again, we see magma pulse signals going on here. The thicker lines, more magma coming into the volcano. The thinner lines, less magma coming into the volcano. You're seeing tremors here, caused by a rock fracturing inside the volcano when magma comes into the volcano. Rock fracturing from the magma coming into the volcano. Okay? Now we out throughout the day here. That is late this morning and early afternoon. This last night here. They would have us believe nothing's going on here, but it is. As I said, I believe they're erasing activity. There's more activity than they're showing here. It's happened here before. It's probably happening again still. Okay? Things really don't change at the volcanoes, but people do. People of these agencies are lying through their teeth about what's going on here. Now, how many of you want to hear what's happening at Hanford nuclear power plant. Hanford is a decommissioned power plant in Washington State. A decommissioned power plant in Washington State. Did you guys know that? Three and 4 years ago, I was showing you activity at Hanford Power Plant. I was showing you all kinds of seismic activity, including earthquakes, minor quakes, tremors, and small earthquakes happening at Hanford Power Plant. They're still happening. They're still happening, guys. Okay? It's called the Hanford Nuclear Site now. The Hanford Nuclear Site. The buildings still exist here. The buildings at the Hanford, Washington site still exist. Let me show you some of the buildings first here. Oh, darn it. Hold on a second. I accidentally put it in a previous program here from earlier this month. That was wrong. I'm going to move this over to today's data here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. This is one of the buildings that are still existing at the Hanford site. Okay? Was a power plant here. It's now decommissioned. Okay? But the buildings are still there. The radiation is still there. Still there, guys. Now, guys, what you need to know is this. They're still not telling us the truth of what's going on here. Okay? 3 and 4 years ago, I was showing you all kinds of activity here, seismic activity. I was showing you 3.0s, 4.0 earthquakes here all the time. I think maybe tomorrow night I'll show you that activity. I have it saved here on my computer. Have it saved here. Why? Because I wanted everybody to know about it. 3 and 4 years ago, I also contacted legislators in the state of Washington. I contacted Washington senators from Washington state. Back in the day, I was still living in Utah. I would even talk to the senators in Utah about what was going on in Washington state. Hanford Nuclear Power Plant. Because they didn't even talk about it. We want to talk about it. We want to talk about it. I think it needs to be still talked about. Because we have magma running beneath the Hanford site. We have magma running beneath the Hanford site. Magma that is taking some of that radioactivity and spreading it out through the ground, spreading it out to the Columbia River as well, and all the other rivers and tributaries in the area. Okay? The Hanford site is a decommissioned nuclear production complex operated by the United States federal government on the Columbia River in Benton County, Washington. It is also known as Site W and the Hanford Nuclear Reservation. Those buildings are still putting out radiation. Still putting out radiation today. Some of those radioactive containers were deposited in mountains. They put tunnels out in the mountains and put rail cars out there, and they put containers such as this size here and larger. 5-gallon, 10-gallon, and 50-gallon containers they rolled on train cars out into the mountain. They put them out in the mountain, set them on the ground. Since then, some of the ground has settled. Some of those containers have also been tipped over by earthquakes in the area. The radioactive containers of sludge tipped over. Those sludge containers tipped over. They have now leaked radioactivity into the ground. They've leaked radioactivity in the ground. Now, what's going on today? Let me show you. Okay? Let me show what's happening here. I'm going to start with Rattlesnake Mountain. Hanford, Washington, Rattlesnake Mountain. This is where some of those containers were put in the mountain and are leaking. Look what's going on here. Now again, the thicker the lines here, the more magma running through the ground here. No, this is not a volcanic area. However, there is magma running beneath the ground here. Those containers inside the mountain are leaking radioactive material. The magma is also transferring some of this radioactive material further out in the ground and further out over to the Columbia River as well. Look at this magma here, guys. Look at this magma. And then for a time today, late this morning, we had harmonic tremors as well. The mountain here is vibrating because of the magma running beneath it. Mountain is vibrating. It's very well known that those radioactive storage containers fell down and are leaking radioactivity into the ground here. This is Rattlesnake Mountain. Let's take a look at other sites here at Hanford. Okay? Let's look at Hanford H2O. Hanford H2O. Look at the activity here. Yes, some of this activity is magma, but there's also earthquakes hitting this area, as well as tremors and microquakes. No, microquakes can't be felt. Tremors can't be felt. However, the tremor activity here is causing these radioactive material containers to vibrate. To vibrate, guys. Yes, they have earthquakes here as well. I've documented that in the past. I'm going to show you that activity possibly as early as tomorrow. But look at this activity here. This is seismic activity as well as magma flowing through the ground here at Hanford Nuclear Site. H2O. Now, I want to take you to the wet grout plant, the Hanford wet grout plant. Look here. Late yesterday evening, 8 p.m. at the top. Here you see tremors here in the ground. Tremors here in the ground. Ground movement. No, this is not substantial earthquake activity, but it's still tremors here. Still happening. You also see thicker lines here. Magma is still running underneath this plant here. Running underneath the plant here. Look what happens here this late afternoon, early morning here. Still more magma running through the ground here. And we have tremors all over the place. Like I said, this is a wet grout plant here at Hanford. Next, I'm not done. I'm going to show you two other areas here. Two other areas here. Why? Because I believe still people need to know what's going on. This is Hanford 300 area. Hanford 300 area. Last night, look at this. They basically have the seismograph turned off. Turned off, guys. There is absolutely no activity at all. No activity being recorded after 8 p.m. last night. None at all. Until early this morning. Early this morning. Now, guys, usually it's the other way around, where they show activity all evening long, and then after a certain time, they turn the seismographs down or off. In this case, it was off probably all day yesterday and all evening until early this morning. Here you're seeing tremor activity here. Then this afternoon, what happens? Lots more activity here, and even a 2.0 earthquake here. 2.0 earthquake activity here this evening after 5 p.m. About 5:05, 5:06 p.m. this evening. 2.0 earthquake. Now, guys, I know what you're saying. That isn't anything. Again, what I believe might be happening is these people from PNSN are erasing that data or altering the data as well. We've seen it happen before. Not just here at Hanford, but at other sites as well. I'm going to show you one more seismograph here at Hanford. This time, Hanford 400 area. That was 300 area. This is 400 right here. Look at the activity here. Last night, all kinds of magma came into the magma chamber under the ground. Again, this is not a volcano. This is magma running underneath the ground here. All kinds of magma came in here. Then a period where there was less magma, and then again, the magma returned here. The magma infill started returning here. Off and on all evening long here. You see tremors here as well. Tremors caused by the magma fracturing the rock inside the magma chamber here as it's moving through the magma chamber. That's what we see here. What happens here early this morning and late this afternoon? More tremors. More and more tremors here. And at one point in time early this morning, on this black and blue line here at the top, more and more magma as well. Again, this is at Hanford Nuclear Site. Magma is down here underneath the ground, down below these radioactive containers. I believe that magma is transferring radioactivity through the ground over to the water, over to the rivers, and the other tributaries around the river. Okay? If anybody's fishing there, those fish are radioactive. Those fish are radioactive. Now again, I'm going to show more activity tomorrow on at Hanford Power Plant. Why? Because I believe people need to know what's going on. Yes, earthquakes calm down for a point in time, but they don't stay calmed down for very long. What I am talking about needs to be heard. Up until this year, the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network showed activity for up to 6 to 8 months afterwards, sometimes even years afterwards. They did not erase it. They kept it in an archive. In the past, I could retrieve that information. Now they're not doing that. They're not allowing that information to be retrieved at all. They've hidden it. They've hidden the data. We can't get it. So I'm going to show you what happened 3 years ago. I'm going to show you what happened 4 years ago. Month after month. Literally month after month this happened. Still happening. I believe it's still happening, guys. Again, when I first discovered this back in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, I notified the state senators in Washington. I notified U.S. senators in Washington and Utah because I believed that they need to be knowing about it. They need to know about it. One senator said, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's being handled." Don't worry about it. Well, how's it being handled? I don't know. But it's being handled. I don't want them to tell me I don't know anymore. I don't want them telling anybody they don't know. That was the answer I got several years ago. I again contacted U.S. senators. And yes, they have in the past held hearings on what is happening at the Hanford Power Plant. As other nuclear power plants have been decommissioned throughout the country, they've held hearings on those power plants as well. Those buildings are still radioactive, as are the power buildings at Hanford Power Plant that I showed you on that slide here. Maybe tomorrow I'll show you more slides from nuclear power plant at Hanford. Does anybody have any questions for me? Renee Steffi's been this afternoon or this evening talking about tornado warnings and tornadic storms heading towards Fredericktown, Mount Vernon, Ohio. Seek shelter now. Stay tuned to local weather stations for updates. Fredericktown and Mount Vernon, Ohio. Tornado warnings there, guys. You need to be aware of it. Take cover now. If you're anywhere near a tornado, take cover now. Okay? It's absolutely necessary for your safety. Stay there until the sirens stop or until you're given an all clear notice. Okay? I'm just checking some other things. Renee Steffi's also issued warnings for Cardington, Mount Vernon, Ohio, until 9:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tonight on the Eastern Seaboard. Okay? 9:30 is another 35, 40 minutes from now. Thunderstorm warning for Portland, Ohio, until 9 p.m., which is another few minutes away. 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail, moving east at 65 miles an hour. That's a very fast-moving storm, guys. That's a very fast-moving storm. Thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 8:30 p.m. tonight in Maurice, Indiana. There in Maurice, Indiana, they had winds of 70 miles per hour, wind gusts, and quarter-size hail there. National Weather Service issued a tornado warning for Sandusky, Ohio, till 8:45, which was about 10 minutes ago. May still be ongoing now, but up until 10 minutes ago. Severe thunderstorm warning. The storm was moving east at 80 miles per hour. That's huge. Heading towards Upper Sandusky, Marion, and Galion. Take shelter immediately, guys, if you're in that area. That storm is moving east, and it's still going to be a hazard. Okay? St. Henry, Ohio, until 8:45, about 10 minutes ago. That storm was moving east at 40 miles per hour. Tornado and golf ball size hail there. Kenton, Ohio. This was about 40 minutes ago. Wind gusts knocking out power. Stay tuned to local weather stations for future updates. Guys, if you are in a tornadic area or a thunderstorm area, make sure you have your television and or radio stations tuned to a news talk station. Don't be listening to music because you're not going to get tornado warnings or thunderstorm warnings when they're playing music. Tune your radio and television stations to a news talk station. That way they're going to give you up-to-the-minute information on the weather in your area. Okay? Please do that for your own safety. Okay? Power outages are being reported in Youngstown, Ohio as well. Not surprising. Not surprising at all. Do we have any other comments or ideas from what our program is saying tonight? We've been telling you about everything going on. Also, please, if you will, please give us a thumbs up before you leave this evening. I hope you guys all stay tuned throughout our program, because the longer you stay here on the program, the greater chance YouTube is going to let anybody else see it. So please stay tuned to our program and watch our entire program, or for as long as possible. We'd appreciate that greatly. Okay? Also, please, if you will, if you have the ability to, please give us donations to our PayPal locations. We have 2 PayPal locations on our program. They're scrolling across the top of the bottom of your screen. Also, you can send us cards and letters here to our post office box here. The postal address is 504 Bethel Road, box 401. Morganton, North Carolina, zip code here is 28655. We'd appreciate any donations that you want to send us. They'd be greatly appreciated so we can pay the bills here to keep this program on the air. Now, guys, I know we've been on late. We're still late here. It's almost 9 p.m. Eastern Time. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. We love you. We really do. May God be with you and protect you in all that you do. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side, everybody. Have a good night. Take care. God bless. See you soon. Take it easy. Enjoy. Have fun. Have fun. See you soon.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family. us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright.